Wong. Holy crap.
Sunset Overdrive is a wacky, cracked out, nothing is serious even when it probably should be kind of game. We're talking irreverent jabs, the awesome apocalypse, fourth wall breaking, inexplicable immortality, the works. But with the possible exception of the aforementioned magically immortal protagonist, who is also aware of his or her own existence as a video game protagonist, what starts everything? What's the thing that gets the game rolling and kicks off the awesome apocalypse? Well, it can be summed up in 2 words. Energy drinks.
That's right. For those who have never played Sunset Overdrive, all those crazy zombie-looking things, the player's powers, pretty much everything, outside of the people, that's extra weird, it all stems from an energy drink called OverCharge Delirium XT! So what is it? What is OverCharge?
Well, the short but inaccurate answer is, it's an energy drink.
I love energy drinks.
The short but accurate answer is that it's an energy drink filled with experimental ingredients that was pushed past FDA regulations, presumably in a hush-hush manner that involved greasing enough palms to keep an auto repair shop supplied for well over a year.
Okay, maybe I don't like energy drinks.
Or maybe FDA regs in the future just get more lax. Oh, right, the game takes place in 2027, 10 years from now, 13 years from the publishing date of the game. Yes, I realize that some might consider that important information. Trust me, it's not. Outside of the mild sci-fi science that leads to the development of robots and OverCharge Delirium XT itself, you wouldn't notice it takes place in the future. So, moving on.
Honestly, you really wouldn't. I played the game and I didn't know it took place in the future until reading this. I wasn't paying attention, apparently. But we're going to be working backwards from what OverCharge can do in an effort to describe what it is. The reasoning for this is simple. There isn't actually a lot of information about what really goes into the energy drink, so we have to extrapolate. Okay, so the first thing to know is that the magic ingredients in OverCharge are microbes, called extremophiles.
What do you call this material?
Well, its real name has 37 syllables. I call it unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't choose the term microbe. The game actually uses that specifically, which is both important and interesting because a microbe is defined as follows. A microorganism, originally a term used to refer collectively to any microscopic organism, but most often used in reference to bacteria that causes disease, fermentation, or that are considered in some way harmful. A definition we should pay attention to, because that information is originally given to us by Floyd, an in-game scientist who, when asked by Fizco, the company behind OverCharge, whether or not OverCharge should be greenlighted, he was the one member of the team that said no, when the other 4 said yes. If Fizco made commercials with one of those 4 out of 5 scientists agree kind of lines, he would literally be that 5th scientist. So we can trust that he knows what he's talking about. He's also the guy that uses the same extremophiles to develop the player's amps, but more on that later.
The next thing to know is that we keep calling extremophiles magic microbes because they're very seriously the chemical X, radiation, magic space rock, etc. for Sunset Overdrive. They do a lot of things, most of which can be boiled down to extreme mutation, which makes sense because, remember, extremophiles are some kind of possibly pathogenic bacteria or virus, plus, extreme!
So, what do extremophiles do to those who use them? Well, in the case of those drinking OverCharge, it mutates them into, hopefully, mindless monsters called OverCharge drinkers, overdrives, or, most commonly, just OD for short, that wish to feed on OverCharge, and will tear apart anyone and anything else in their way to get their hands on more. Which sounds pretty basic, until you get a look at the sheer variety of creatures this stuff can morph a human being into, especially since many of these mutations incorporate non-organic matter, or even complicated machinery into the new OD's body. Yes, OD is probably a play on words for overdose, you get a lot of that in this game. For those of us that love puns, it's great. For those without, well, just enjoy the humor anyway, okay?
Here are a few examples of OD, and as such, what OverCharge itself can do. At the basic bottom rung, least wackily mutated, you have your, standard OD. Essentially just zombies who crave the tang-looking energy drink and aren't afraid to let you know it. Violently.
Then you have the poppers, nearly identical to the standard OD in all respects, except they have large reservoir sacs of overcharge sloshing obviously around in their bodies. Sacs which explode upon death or contact, leaving puddles of overcharge behind. Whether they generate overcharge internally or have simply ingested more than the average OD is unknown.
There are also the blowers. Hush. Again, nearly identical to standard OD, except that one of their arms has been fused with a leaf blower, which is weird already, but weirder is the fact that through these leaf blowers they spew toxins at rather an impressive range.
Next, there are the spawners, large OD that have partially fused with dumpsters, and using these dumpsters as incubators can somehow spawn additional OD. Numerous possibilities for how this process functions exist, including, but not limited to, somehow genuinely spawning OD from next to nothing. Maybe the dumpster holds a single OD that is cloned numerous times to facilitate spawning. Perhaps the spawner eats other OD and generates, incubates, or recreates them in some way through that process. Though to our knowledge no evidence of OD attacking each other exists. But along those same lines, they could also be eating humans and just have stored up humans that they're turning into OD on their own in there as well. Or maybe there's a portal to some other place in the city inside the dumpster. We really don't know.
There are also Herkers, very large OD that are your classic game brute. Big, strong, tons of health, lots of damage. These OD appear to have fused with at least the shovel portion of a construction excavator, and additionally, based upon the 2 sets of smaller arms and the doubled rows of teeth, possibly maybe at least 2 standard ODs somehow fused together.
Additionally, there are gunkers, a variation of standard OD that have apparently been fused with spoiled hot dogs and freezers from a hot dog factory? The hot dogs are hard to notice, the freezers less so, as these ODs spew frozen gunk and have an ice breath weapon and can even throw mines that release an icy explosion.
There are also weirder, less obviously human examples of mutated OD. Yes, obviously all of these have been on the strange side already, but there are 2 bosses in the game that the extremophiles mutate into decidedly non-human shapes and forms.
First, a game boss by the name of Norton Dragon. Real creative. He is an OD that fused with a royal-looking dragon throne, and through that somehow turned into a giant bastardization of a classic Chinese dragon that spews fire, flies, and is just generally a giant monster.
Lastly, the other OD game boss, this one from Game DLC, which is known as, wait for it, the DLC monster.
Told you there was more of that.
And it's an enormous crustacean-like creature that assaults you with tentacles and fires explosive projectiles your way. This is the only creature that doesn't have any obviously once human features, and as such may never have originally been human in the first place.
That's a sample of the more interesting creatures that we know Overcharge and the Extremophiles can make, but it's not all they can do. Overcharge is also used to create the superhuman abilities the player uses in-game. Abilities called amps. There are 5 categories of amps, each of which can be filled with numerous different abilities, including the ability to leap higher, spawn lightning with a roll, spit fire while you glide around, spawn tornadoes with a weapon swing, attract loot to you from great distances, leave trails of healing energy, etc., etc. The list goes on.
So those are examples of things Overcharge and Extremophiles can do. Let's break them down real quick. First, they can mutate imbibers into zombie-like creatures, all varieties of which crave Overcharge. It's their only real similarity. Second, Extremophiles can manipulate and incorporate non-living inorganic matter into the mutations. And third, Extremophiles can grant power such as production of fire, acid, and lightning.
So what is Overcharge? Well, it's an energy drink. One that I think we can all safely assume gets its energy kick from the Extremophiles packed within. It's a substance that, when improperly applied, is capable of completely converting a human body into something that appears from the outside to be an entirely different set or subset of organisms, not unlike a cancer. When properly applied, however, it can create isolated and even beneficial changes to a body. So what exactly is Overcharge? Simply put, it's a mutagen. A powerful one at that. Capable of being one of the worst kind of plagues on mankind, or quite possibly a genuine cure-all. A substance that, when properly used and understood, unlocks genetic possibilities the likes of which have never before been seen.
And that was Overcharge. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. If you'd like to see more from us on this or other topics, please subscribe. And tell us what you'd like to see more of in the future by leaving a comment below on Facebook or on Twitter. And in the meantime, this has been
Two Men and a Mic, signing off. Hey guys, you can click the link in the left for our last lore video.
You can click the link on the right for our last Let's Play.
And right here in the middle, that orb, you can hit that to subscribe.
Also, ring the bell if you want to be notified when we post a new video.
This is Two Men and a Mic. Thanks for watching.